Hi guys, I'm Abe.
And I'm Matt.
And this is Bell of Lost Souls, How to Play Dungeon Draft.
It is a card drafting game set in a fantasy universe by Upper Deck. It plays in about half an hour for 2 to 5 players. So let's take a look. There are 4 different types of cards in Dungeon Draft: heroes, weapons, monsters, and quests. Draft cards all have a different number of icons. The gold cost indicates how much gold must be spent before the card can be played. Hero icons, weapon icons, card class icons don't have any immediate game effect, but other cards such as heroes and weapons might require those icons to be played. XP indicates how much experience points the card will be worth at the end of the game. Attack will show how much attack power the card has, which can be used to defeat monsters. Gold production indicates how much gold the card will provide the player at the end of the round. Unlike heroes and weapons, monster cards don't require gold to be spent. The player must have played an amount of attack equal to the attack cost of the monster to play that monster, and in doing so will gain a number of experience and gold as listed on the monster card. Every quest has certain quest requirements which indicate which icons the player must have in their play area before the quest can be completed. Once the quest is completed, the card is revealed and the player will gain the special ability of that quest, as well as the experience gained at the end of the game.
Alright, Matt, so go ahead and run us through a turn here.
Sure. So at the start of every round, we will both draw 7 dungeon draft cards.
Alright, and this is out of our big pile of dungeon draft
173 cards, I believe.
A lot of cards.
Yeah. Comes with a lot of cards. I'm making sure I have my 7.
And these are all the cards we talked about earlier, right? Like the weapon cards and monster cards,
and
hero cards. Those are all mixed into here.
Yeah.
So
we already have our quest cards.
Right. So those are the only cards that don't go in here. But every other card that we've talked about before goes into that big deck.
Yeah.
All right.
So
everything is secret from the other player, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, at least for now, because if you've played a draft in any sort of way before, you'll know that the general mechanic is we both pick a card. So pick whatever card floats your boat, and then the remaining cards are going to be passed around the table.
Okay, so I got a bit of a strategy here.
Yeah.
And as we talked about with the quest cards, you probably want to try to play towards a quest and figure out something there. So...
Yeah, so looking for specific hero icons for class icons is definitely the right way to go.
How many players can play this game again?
It is between 2 and 5 players.
So if there were 5 players, we would have a really interesting big draft going on.
Right. Unfortunately, it's just us.
It's just us.
No one wanted to play with us today.
Womp, womp, womp. It's because I smell. Alright, so I've drafted another one.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll just...
keep going back and forth.
Did they specify if you have to pass clockwise? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
In the rules, they specify that turns 1 and 3 are passed clockwise, and turns 2 and 4 are counterclockwise.
Okay. Oh, interesting.
Okay. A couple more rounds of these. And then a big part of this game is definitely trying to remember what your quests are. Although you're allowed to check whenever you want. But also, any game with a draft mechanic, more players is almost always better.
And let's start with that card.
Yep.
Alright, so now we've got our hands for the game. What happens next?
So, each player will take their entire play at once.
Okay. And we start off with some gold, right?
Oh, yes. We start with 9 gold.
At the beginning. And
at the beginning during setup, you are granted 9 gold.
And then after the first round, how do you get? You get gold.
At the end of each round, you'll get 5 more gold, as well as any gold that you've accumulated through your gold production on your cards that you've played.
So we do start with a little bit of gold. We're playing out the first turn here.
Yeah. So I'm gonna slide some things out of the way here. So I'm gonna spend 1 gold to play my Noble Mage Apprentice.
Okay.
The gold just goes back into the pile here. And I will then play... Oh, I don't know. This is interesting. All right, so then I will play... or pay 2 gold for a League of the Phoenix card, which has a special ability gaining me 2 experience for each other League of the Phoenix hero I have, but currently it's my first, so none. Still looking around for something that I think will really help me out here, but I don't know anything just yet will be that useful. So, yeah, not getting a whole lot this turn. So, but there's no reason not to play everything you can just for the hero icons.
Now, do you keep your hand or do you discard it if you can't play it?
Discard it.
Okay, so use it or lose it.
Yeah. So I'm gonna spend 6 gold.
Okay.
Which is a lot for Axe of the Gods.
Woo-wee!
Which gets me a lot of experience, as well as for the rest of this round, weapons cost me 6 less gold to play this turn. Unfortunately, that's my only weapon.
Ha 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 ha. The gods have abandoned you!
And with that, I do have some monsters in my hand, but I don't have any attack, so I can't play any of them.
Alright, so then play's going to pass to me as the player to your left. Obviously, if we were going the other way, it would pass to me as the player to your right.
Correct.
So I'm going to start off with 1 gold for Acid Arrow.
Okay.
And now let's draw 2 cards. So that comes right out of the draft deck here, or the main deck here. Alright. So...
Yeah, there's a lot of strategy and making sure that the order in which you play your cards is just right. For example, I'll give away some secrets here. I have the Slave Trader card, which lets me sacrifice another hero I have played this turn to gain gold equal to that sacrificed hero's cost. So if I were just 1 or 2 gold away from playing something big that I needed, I could play the Slave Trader, but only after I played that hero and before I played whatever I needed to play.
So if you play a card that generates gold, do you generate gold immediately or from only at the end?
It's at the end of the turn.
Okay.
Unless the card has some sort of specific ability, which will all be written in the bottom area of the card.
So I'm going to spend 5 to play Drummond the Greedy.
Ooh.
And he is pretty good for experience, but also he lets me double my current gold.
Alright, so again, order very important.
Yep.
If you had generated some gold
Beforehand.
before that.
Yep. So that gets me up to 6, though. So he was fairly cheap. That's a good thing. And then we're going to pay 2 to summon the Recruitment Officer.
Sure.
So she's not great, but she does a little bit of damage, and more importantly, she lets me pay 2 less gold for a rogue card this round.
Okay.
So for 2 more, then, I'm going to summon Strahand the Bard.
Nice.
He doesn't give me any experience, but he does generate 2 gold every turn. So, obviously, in these kind of games, you want to try to get gold, or you want to try to get things that generate stuff as early as you can.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that they'll pay for themselves the most. And then that's going to leave me with 2 gold left to spend. And I'm going to go ahead and spend those on Garak the Green. So he is another druid, and his special ability is I gain an XP for each other druid card I control. So I do control 1 other druid card, so that will net me an experience right now.
Yeah. All right. Your turn was way better than mine was.
And I cannot do the rest of my hand because I'm out of money.
All right.
So that's the end of a turn.
At the end of the turn, all unplayed cards are discarded to the Dungeon Draft discard pile. We will move then into the end of round phase, where we all get 5 gold plus whatever our gold production is.
So I'm going to get 7.
You'll get 7. I will only get my 5.
Noob.
And that's the end.
Okay. If I've completed a quest, when do I declare that? Is that during the end phase? Is that immediately?
Whenever you are completed the quest, you can reveal it, because a lot of quests have special abilities that will affect you throughout the entire game.
Okay.
So playing them as early as possible is usually advantageous.
Usually great. Okay. I don't have any quests.
Neither do I.
All right. And then all of our guys scoot over, right?
So you don't get to use any of the special abilities of the cards again in the following rounds.
Every turn.
But you do keep all of the icons on the cards. So the game recommends you sort of push them together and stack them so that you can see the icons on the side, because you'll still get the hero icons. And
so you can kind of do it like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And that lets you see all the important notations.
And then we'll move into round 2, where we'll draw another 7 cards, go through another draft phase, another play phase, and after 4 rounds...
So every round is exactly the same. And then at the end, I win, right?
I mean, as it stands right now, it seems like you're on the track to victory, but...
I mean, actually, you would win right now, I believe.
Oh, that's true, because so at the end of the game, you add up all of the icons, the experience icons on the cards you have in play, your heroes, your weapons, monsters might have netted you some, or whatever tokens you acquired.
I got 1.
You tally them all up, and whoever has the most wins.
Yeah.
Pretty straightforward.
So currently Matt would have 8 because he's got 6 from the acts he played and 1 for each of the other guys. I've got 4 from people I played and 1 from that special card I played. If I had managed to...
And quest cards also.
Quest. That would have been great. But alas.
And that's it.
That's it, yeah. So that's pretty simple. Alright, so what do you think of the game there?
So, I like this. It's I think, I'm a big fan of any game that's really easy to explain. It doesn't take long to get people into the game, but it's still got a lot of depth and complexity with just all the card interactions. Really adds a lot of variability to the game, especially just because there's so many cards.
Sure, there's a lot. Testament, there's a lot of different cards. I hated it.
Yeah?
Yeah, because I lost. So it's not a good game. Clearly, folks. No, it seems like a fun little game. It's pretty simple for what it is.
It plays quick, which is always nice.
Yeah, there's clearly a fair amount of strategy that you can get into about what you want to go for, especially if you have a big 4 or 5 people drafting.
Yeah.
Then you get a pretty large memory element in there, because you're like, oh, I just saw 50 cards. There's one of those I need to try to get. Let me remember to try to snag that as it comes around.
Yeah.
I think one thing you want to watch for in those situations, and I don't know if they recommend, sometimes you might want to put time limit. Obviously, you want to make sure the drafts don't take too long, because if you've got 5 players and everyone's like, I gotta spend 20 minutes staring at each time I get these cards, and you're like,
paralysis analysis.
You're like, Jen, pick a card already.
Analysis paralysis.
Yeah, but no, I love all the. I think the art's really catchy to me. I love all the little names and stuff, so it's pretty cool. It kind of does a good job of this
building a narrative.
Yeah, and this little bit of world building just from the cards without knowing anything about it. I think is really cool. And yeah, it's a pretty simple little game there that I like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, if you're someone who's a big fan of drafting mechanics, Matt's a fan of a couple games that are famous for drafting tournaments and things like that. We won't mention them, but he likes to gather together and draft with people.
It's a magical experience.
Yeah, it's a very magical experience, definitely. Especially Matt does come from a coast, and he loves lizards, obviously.
Yeah, big fan.
Yeah, so, so this is its own game, obviously, and people who like that kind of mechanic and style are going to enjoy that, I think, and get some fun out of it. And then you get to play, it's not just a draft, you get to play the game with it, too. So I assume also, NFL sports fans who love drafting are going to be real into this.
You could definitely have a fantasy draft with the druids and the rogues.
Right. That's how football works, right?
Something like that.
All right, any last thoughts, Matt?
No, I think that'll be it.
All right, awesome. We'll see you.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Bye.
Don't forget to subscribe. Support us on Patreon. Thanks for watching.